Hey, everybody, it's Friday. We've got Steve Abramowicz here with us from Mill Creek View podcast. How's it going today?
Going great. It is cold outside, but man, those blue skies of Tennessee on days like today, fantastic. I have to drive over to Chattanooga, so I'm going to get a full day's worth of brightness. It's going to be
You
great.
should see some really nice colors, fall colors in the trees.
I'm excited about it. It's going to be a good drive.
Let's talk about what you have coming up. Something really interesting. A lot of people in this area are excited about. You recently talked to John Snyder.
I did. I talked to Bo Duke, the legendary Bo Duke, who actually was Jonathan Kent, the father of Superman, for even longer than he was Bo Duke, 10 years on Smallville. But yes, Bo Duke, when he was 18 years old, and yeehaw, he was kind enough to do that on the show. Great show, all about his 40 years in acting, his beloved wife, who was his producer, who passed away earlier this year. So dealing with the trauma of that and trying to go on and still do, he does a lot of work, believe it or not, and all of his top country music hits. He has several number ones and greatest
Yeah.
hits and Christmas albums, and was on the show with Reba McEntire. So just a prolific actor, singer, songwriter. Was on Dancing with the Stars, so dancer. And
Mhm.
we spent a great 40 minutes just talking about his life, his career, his passions, and his future.
Yeah.
And his
So,
future is next weekend here locally. He's going to be at the Gallatin Comic Con November 11th and 12th, beginning at 10 a.m. Central Time at the Gallatin Civic Center. So pretty exciting there. And he has a book out. And if you bring his book, he'll sign it.
nice. Yeah, it's kind of a reunion of the Dukes of Hazzard staff or
Exactly.
cast there, really.
It'll have Catherine Bach there, who I'm a huge fan of, and it'll have Tom Wopat, and then a couple of the other characters, the one who played Cletus and one who played Boss Hogg's, I forget some of the lower characters, but definitely the top three will be there, and that's very cool.
Yeah, it's not often that all three of them get together anymore for one of those events. So this is kind of a special time.
Right here in our neck of the woods.
Yeah. For those who may remember, a few years ago, he was the Grand Marshal for the Leapers Fork Parade and got to drive the General Lee that you often see down in Leapers Fork.
Yeah, it's it has roots here. The fictitious hazard.
Yeah. And then if those of you who were there, you remember it stalled out in the middle of the parade and he got out of the car and pushed it. So who knew we were going to see John Snyder push the General Lee?
What a pro. Well, he did his own stunts back in the day, so I'm sure he's able to push a car if he has to. He knows how.
You know, he has an event for his birthday in Louisiana where he lives now every year. And he still, you talking about stunts, he still has one of those cars and he will jump it. He does jumps down there.
He does. He actually told us about a 150-foot jump that he's got coming up going soon, because he never did the jumps when he was on the show. They wouldn't let him, probably insurance reasons. But now he, every chance he gets, and he's restored 2 of them. He has a 59-acre studio, full working studio down there in Louisiana, and still pumps out movies. And you can go to johnschneiderstudios.com and actually stream them.
Yeah. I think at one point he was going to release some more music. I haven't heard if he's
Next
working
month,
on
as a
that.
matter of fact, he has a new album coming out this month. We're now in November. We had
Yeah.
Halloween was the show, and so I was thinking of November as next month, but we are actually in November.
Yeah, well, that'll be exciting. Tell us about somebody else you have coming up. You said you have someone who is professor at Belmont that you talked to.
I did. I had John. I'm all of a sudden blanking on his first name, which is terrible.
Alan?
But it is Alan Shacklock from Belmont University. He's a full professor there, teaches kids how to produce music. And back in the day, for him, he produced names like Roger Daltrey, Faith Hill. He's been well known for a long time. Roger Daltrey from The Who, for those of you who may be born within the last decade or two. So he's been around quite a while. Phenomenal story, phenomenal guy. Talked about the music business, talked about Nashville music business, what it's like to be at Belmont, and some of the people he's been able to produce and get out there into the universe. Loves music and has his own band that's been a hit maker called Babe Ruth, named after the old 20s and 30s baseball player. So he's a great guy, local guy that decided to make Nashville his home after being born and raised in the UK, was on Pink Floyd's label, could have chosen anywhere on the planet to retire in or work for the rest of his life, and he chose Nashville.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. Also, Belmont has a lot of really interesting professors like that who've worked in the industry for kids who want to go there and either major in music or just take a class because it's there's a lot of interesting people there.
I hope to have many more of them on just like that. Those are the stories
Yeah.
I love.
Coming up, I think this is really interesting. You have a local author that's written a book about Nashville. So
I
I
do.
think, there's so many people moving here all the time, but they've got a unique perspective. Tell us about that.
So this is Mason Douglas. He's got he's very prolific as well, with everything from music to acting. On the writer, Music Row Publishing House. But he has a book out, his second book called Secret Nashville. His first book was called Now You Know Nashville, 500 Pop Culture Sites of Nashville. This one is in-depth exploration into the weird, wonderful, and obscure sites of Nashville. So that'll be a great conversation to add to the color of the show that I've been trying to do with, say, the Battle of Franklin and the Battle of Nashville and the Nashville Museum and all of these other historical areas to look at. We'll get his insights into what he's discovered. And you may, if you haven't heard of him, he's been around quite a while for hits with Dustin Lynch and Chris Stapleton and Vince Gill and Jewel and Trace Adkins, just a prolific songwriter who happens to love the city he lives in, Nashville, and has now written 2 books about it, and one coming out shortly.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Tell everybody where they can find more information and follow the podcast.
So at Mill Creek View is the Twitter feed, and most of the other socials. You can follow us every day, but you can also go to mcview.us, which is the newspaper that also houses all of the shows, the Florida show, the Washington show, and the Tennessee show, which is my show I'm the host of. And you can also go to Rumble, to the Mill Creek View channel, see all of it there. And of course, all of your favorite platforms, iTunes, Spotify, you name it, at Mill Creek View, VIEW.
All right. Sounds great. We will see you soon.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye,
weekend.
everybody.